Hey everyone, Mrs. Wingers here. You are here for lesson 4 of our fractions on a number line unit. Now, yesterday, or whenever you did lesson 3, we were starting to dip our toes into comparing fractions. We did that by partitioning number lines and putting 2 dots on our number line to show the fractions and then figuring out which one was closer to 0. That helped us to see which fraction was of greater value, like which fraction was bigger. Today, we're going to be doing something similar, but we're going to level it up, of course, by looking at fractions that are greater than 1. Okay, so we're not only looking from 0 to 1 today, we're actually going to look from 0 to 3. All right, and this can be a little bit trickier, but that's why we're going to do it together first. All right, so yeah, here we go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the first thing I'm going to do here is read the directions because directions are so important. We're going to divide each number line into the given fractional unit. That's this. Given fractional unit means that. Then place the fractions. Write each whole as a fraction. Okay? So let's do this first one together. We're looking at thirds here, right? So I need to partition my number line into thirds. Does that mean I partition this whole thing into thirds? No. Each whole number needs to be split into thirds. So between 1 and 2, I'm splitting this into thirds, all right? And then between 2 and 3, I'm also splitting that into thirds. Now, additionally, I want to label each fractional unit. So something we learned last week is that when it's 1, when the whole number is 1, the way we write that fraction is having the same number on the top and bottom, right? So the numerator and denominator are the same. And since this is thirds, we know this is 3/3, which would make this next number 4/3, and then 5/3, and 6/3, 7/3, 8/3, 9/3. Wow, amazing. Now the second part is place the fractions. So there's 3 fractions here, and we want to put dots on our number line to represent those fractions. So I see 6/3. There it is. 5/3. There, and 8/3. There's 8/3. Okay? You're going to repeat that for the next 2. This is very similar to your exit ticket, right? You're doing halves, fourths, and eighths, but I'm modeling with thirds, sixths, and fifths. So you do this first side first so that you can answer the back side. So I'm going to zoom through this. I'm going to speed up the camera, but I'm going to model the rest of these. Okay, so I have partitioned my number lines based on the given fractional unit, thirds, sixths, and fifths. I have labeled all these fractions on the number line, and now I can complete, for me, the bottom half, but for you, it's going to be the back side of the exit ticket, okay? Oops, so we need to see this whole thing. So as you can see, there's a bunch of fractions to compare down here, and we're going to use these fractional lines as a tool to figure out what's what. So let's start with the first one. We got 17/6 and 15/6. Well, look at this. I already have a number line with all my sixths labeled. So 17/6 is here. 15/6 is here. Which one is closer to 0? 15/6, which means it's smaller. So I go like this. 17/6 is greater than 15/6. Sixths. All right, thirds. 7/3 or 9/3. Well, you might be able to do this one in your head, but let's model it just in case. I've got 7/3 and 9/3. Which one's closer to 0? 7/3, which means it is less than 9/3. You with me? Then we have 11/5 and 8/5. So down here, 11/5, there it is, and 8/5, there it is. 8/5 is closer to 0, which means it is smaller. Now, there are also some that have some differing denominators. Look at that, thirds and sixths. How am I supposed to do that, Mrs. Wingers? Let me show you. Because the wholes are lined up the same, right? There's 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, and 3, 3, 3. These are showing us equivalence. So we can look at 4 thirds, which is here, and 8 sixths, which is here. And we can kind of like reason with this, which one of those is closer to this side. To me, it looks like 8 sixths, which means, boom, that's the answer there. So here again, okay, we have sixths and thirds. So let's start with 13 sixths is there. 8 thirds is here. Well, this one's a little more obvious, right? To me, 13 sixths is closer to 0 than 8 thirds is. So it's like that. And the last one we're going to do, 11 sixths is there. 5 thirds is here. Ooh, this one's pretty close. But to me, it looks like, 5 thirds is closer to 0. So it's like that. Okay, so we use this number line, the number lines that we partitioned and labeled, we use that as a tool to compare the fractions.